Okay, so this has to be the most powerful deck I have for Commander right now. It's my Lord Windgrace deck. For those of you that have never played against Lord Windgrace, 2 black, red, green, legendary Planeswalker, +2, discard a card, then draw a card. If a land card is discarded this way, draw an additional card. -3, return up to 2 land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. -11, destroy up to 6 target non-land permanents, then create 6 2/2 green cat warrior creature tokens with Forest Walk. Legit, I never go for the ultimate. He's got one last ability. Lord Windgrace can be your commander. But yeah, legit, I do not ever go for the minus ability. If I've gotten to the point where I can do the minus ability, the game has already been won. It's really about discarding a land, being able to get my card draw into my powerful spells, -3 to just be able to do some crazy ramp. And yeah, so this deck is called Tactical Nukes. It is all about lands being destroyed, lands coming into play, lands being sacrificed. If there's not like a bunch of lands coming into play and a bunch of lands being destroyed on my turn, it's not really a game of Magic, is it? So yeah, let's dive into the creatures. We got the Horizon Explorer. Basically play this for the lands you control, enter untapped. I don't really do the attacking because I'm not going to be playing a lot of creatures in this deck. I don't really win by combat. I win by just basically playing way more lands than my opponent. And a number of stuff does make my lands have to come into play tapped, so having this come into play untapped means I'm going to be doing some broken shenanigans. Morag, Fury of Akum. Okay, so there is a bit of an, like, this is one of my finishers. You know, each creature you control gets +1/+0 for each time it is attacked this turn. Landfall, whenever land enters the battlefield, I get an additional attack phase after this. And at the beginning of combat, I get to untap all creatures you control. So, yeah, this will stack up. This will give me numerous extra attack phases to be able to slap in with almost everything I've got in the late game. So it's a late game finisher, so I want to play this later. Aftermath Analysis. When the creature enters mill 3, then I can pay 4 mana, sacrifice a creature. Sacrifice this creature, return all lands from my graveyard to the battlefield. So this is probably the setup that ends up enabling this to just wreck house. I do have ways where I'm basically going to sacrifice all of my lands and then float 3 mana so I can sacrifice this to get everything back and be completely nasty. Creature that ends up creating a land when it comes into play. That's always good, but it does come into play tapped. Having the ability to have it go into play untapped means I got automatic access to that mana. Almanath Locus of Rage. Yeah, there are going to be some turns where I am going to basically be putting like 10 lands into play. Possibly more, so the landfall of making all those 5/5s, and he's another one that sets up for the end game. The fact that if I do have some sweepers in here, so when Omnath and all these other ones die, or my opponent decides to be like, I will, you know, wrath the board, it has some built-in insurance because I'm like, okay, if you wrath the board, I am going to throw all of these into your face and kill you. Rampaging Balos, another one of my make my huge board full of tokens and win next turn. Titania, Protector of Agaroth, another, I'm going to make a ton of tokens this turn, and you better have an answer or I will kill you next turn. Sabotender, landfall, whenever the land enters, so I don't play it for the reach, I don't play it for the fact, I play it for the fact that it's a 2-drop with landfall. It says when land enters, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Because, like I said, I can play 10, 20, I can get mid-game when I'm ready to combo off, I can get all 41 lands in this deck back in to come into play all at the same time, and that's a lot of damage going around the table. I still Explorer. This is where I get to play a ton of lands, so I can play additional land each turn. I can play lands from my graveyard, and whenever a land comes to play, I have to mill a card. This is part of the I'm going to kill you through landfall plan right here. Cezaril, you may play lands from your graveyard is basically the only part of the text on this that I care about. I will pay 5 mana to have that ability. Bonfang Bounty Hunters, whenever a non-land creature you control dies, Earthbend X, where X is that creature's power. So this is the infinite loop setup for, I got a Pawn of Ulamog and the Bounty Hunters. The two of these out will basically allow me to sack the colorless Eldrazi token. Earthbend X is 0, that will kill the land, and because the land is a non-token creature, it dies, brings back the colorless Eldrazi that I can sacrifice for mana. The two of these right here together are my infinite landfall loop combo in the deck. It's my only it's one of my two-card infinite combos in the deck. Worldbreaker, just a really good 7-drop. Just, you know, there's a problem enchantment, there's a problem artifact, or a problem land, and I just need to exile it. And I can bring it back to my. I can sacrifice the land and bring it back to my hand. Late game, when I've got tons of mana, I got tons of repeatable removal. Get Rob Monster. This is another one that is part of the two-card combo. I do have the Dakmor Salvage because at the beginning of Keep, sacrifice this creature unless you sacrifice a land. So if the Dakmor Salvage is in play, I can sacrifice it. It allows me to play an additional land on each of my turns. And whenever one or more land cards is put in your graveyard from anywhere, you draw a card. So if I've got a full grip and I got to discard the Dakmor Salvage to hand size, if I got 8 cards, discard it, I can dredge it back to my hand, and I have to discard it again. So I can set the graveyard up so I can get to a point where I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to play this card, get all my lands back from my graveyard, and have my dudes with landfall all trigger. This is nasty. Augur of Autumn may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play land cards from the top of your library. As long as you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, you may cast creature spells from the top of your library. So yeah, I get this in. I get to play lands from the top of my library. So the top of my library is probably going to be like land. Now I got my 2 land drops. Oh, it's a creature. I'll play that. Oh, the creature lets me play an additional land. Alright, I'll play that land. This lets me turbo through my deck pretty good. Zuga Lost but Seeking, I get to play 2 additional lands. I have almost every card in the game that says you may play X additional lands on each of your turns in this deck. Like I said, Wayward Sawtooth. I don't care about the City Blessing. Usually I'll get it pretty quick with this deck because of how many land drops I get to make and all the card draw and more land drops. But, so I will have a 5/5 that I'm swinging with, but I'm usually just playing this, just pay 3 mana, I get to play more lands. Oracle Mul Daya, pay 4 mana, play another land, play lands from the top of my library. Yeah. Pay 3 mana, play an additional land. There's a theme with this deck. Landfall payoff. Yeah, so I'm playing, I got all my other creatures let me play multiple lands, or give me more creatures when I play multiple lands, but this one gives me the ping, and also it gives me some card draw. Now into the artifacts. Of course, we need the Arcane Signet for some decent mana fixing and ramp. We got the Hearth Hall World Seed. Yep, so I can station this up and sacrifice a land to draw 2 cards. So it's basically another version of Lord Windgrace. And I can play an additional land this turn. That's awesome. And whenever you sacrifice a land, each opponent loses 2 life. So I got the reverse landfall, the land sack trigger to be able to make people lose life. And yeah, chances are I will be able to get that with all my tokens, get stationed, and we're on 8 and we're ready to go playing extra lands. And if they're fetch lands, then I'm basically able to shock my opponents. Crucible of Worlds, 3 mana, you may play an additional land from your graveyard. Like I said, I'm playing every single card I can get that has that game text on it. Soul Ring, just, yeah, lets me play my commander on turn 3. If I curve out right, and I will curve out right, because usually turn 1 Soul Ring usually ends up basically meaning, yes, I am playing my commander on turn 3 every single time. And plus I'll be playing some extra stuff on turn 3. Exploration Boot Ship. Yeah, 1 drop, especially if I've got this out and then I pay 3 and I get one of my 3 drop, play an additional land dudes. They all got like power 3 or better. Station this with this, and then I can play 2 extra lands. So I'm playing my commander on turn 4 with this most of the with just this most of the time. Heck, that on turn 1, Soul Ring into Arcane Signet into this on turn 1, and then the Sawtooth. I'm probably playing my commander on turn 2, turn 3. Retreat to Hyagra, another card to basically ramp me into. Oh no, another card. I don't care about the +1/+0 and Death Touch. All I care about is I gain a life, you lose a life whenever I play a land. Burgeoning. In the right game, Burgeoning and Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, and the rest of the grip is all lands. I'm playing my commander on turn 2. Squandered Resources. I'm doing very shady, broken things, because I will tap all my lands, and then I will start sacrificing all my lands, and then I'll start playing my lands from the graveyard, and I will generate a ton of mana to do some really shady things when we hit the sorceries. Hammer Perforos, creatures control have haste. This is staying in here because it will, when the mass tokens hit, I don't have to wait an extra turn. It's just an enabler for that. I'm probably gonna think about grabbing something else to put in this slot, but still, it's kind of cool to have. So, Binding of the Old Gods, destroy target non-land permanent opponent controls, search the library for a force card, creature controls again, Death Touch on the turn. 4-drop, destroy any 4-drop removal of anything that's not a land. I find that to be good, but I'm probably gonna put something a lot cheaper in here to make this a little bit more faster and more competitive. Putrefy is the faster and more cheaper thing. Destroy target artifact or creature, can't be regenerated. Beast Within, more of my removal. You see my instants are just my removal package. I can just blow something up and turn it into a 3/3 beast. So, Elemental Teachings. This might get changed with a Realms Uncharted, or I might end up like looking for a Realms Uncharted so I can have both this effect twice, where I search my library for 4 lands with different names, reveal them, opponent chooses 2 of those cards, put those in my graveyard, the rest go into the battlefield tapped. So yeah, there's some shenanigans you can get with 4 certain lands I don't have in the deck. It's basically you get like a Vesuva, the copies comes in as a copy of something else. You get the one that lets you swap it with a land in your graveyard, and then you get a Strip Mine and a Wasteland, and you're like, what 4 do I get to have? Well, what 2 do I get to have? And then you Lord Windgrace, and you get the other 2 that they didn't want you to have into play untapped. So this card is nuts with this deck. Rakdos Charm. Exile target player's graveyard, destroy target artifact, or each creature deals 1 damage to its controller. Just really good. Just, some people's playing a graveyard deck, or they're playing a go wide strategy, or they've got a problem artifact. Rakdos Charm, really good in all those situations. Infernal Grasp, straight up destroy a creature. I'll pay 2 life to kill any creature on the board. Terra Sunder. A lot of the time I'm playing this kicked, so I can exile target artifact enchantment. Or I can just pay 4, exile anything. Harrow, simple, decent, classic ramp spell. Sacrifice the land, get 2 into play. This, being able to cast this on like turn 2, basically means commander's coming out on turn 3. And we get to the spicy sorceries of this deck. We get to Jokulhaups. It's a very kind of cool thing because this destroys Artifacts, creatures, and lands. It does not get rid of enchantments and planeswalkers, which this deck is fueled by. A lot of my cards that will let me win the game because of Retreat to Hyagra, the Squander Resources. Those are all really powerful enchantments that work with my landfalls and everything. My Planeswalker, I can blow up everything and then use the minus ability on Lord Windgrace. So I can blow up the board and then I go -2, I get 2 lands back and start rebuilding automatically after that. That is a killer combo right there. Far Wanderings, search land for a basic card, put it into play tapped, then shuffle your library. A lot of times I will be able to cast this with Threshold because of Lord Windgrace making me discard cards to draw. Being able to all the fetch lands I have in here, I can get to 7 cards in my graveyard pretty fast in this deck. Splendid Reclamation, another great card to be like, okay, I will start sacking all my lands to squander resources. I got the Splendid Reclamation. At the end of that, I'll pay 4. I'll bring all my lands back into play. I'll trigger all my landfall abilities, ping a bunch of people for damage, make creatures, and I'll still have my entire board sitting there, so I have all my lands back. Or being able to squander resources, everything away, play like Jokulhaups or any other mass board wipes, and then cast this afterwards with floating mana, and then keep going. This card is backbreaking in this deck. Obliterate. Speaking of backbreaking, destroy all artifacts, creature, lands that can't be regenerated. Cannot be countered. It is a Jokulhaups that they can't say no to. Yes. It's perfect. And again, it leaves my enchantments, it leaves my planeswalker, it leaves my deck still playing while everyone else's decks aren't. Beseech the Queen. I am going to get to a ton of lands in play, so Beseech the Queen, being able to let me search my deck for any card that costs equal or less than the number of lands I have, that's going to be awesome. And yeah, I love this in this deck. Blasphemous Act. Just another good board wipe. I mean, there's not a lot of things that can't survive. They can survive 13 damage. Pest Infestation. Destroy up to X target artifacts and/or enchantments. Create twice X 1/1 green, black-green pest tokens. With when this token dies, you gain 1 life. So if I'm making a ton of mana, I can just start being like, destroy that, destroy that, destroy that, destroy that, destroy that, destroy that. I'll target that one again, and well, actually, you can basically target everything on the board, have them all die, sit there with a bunch of tokens in play, threatening your opponent, and if they blow up the board, then they're going to lose a bunch of life. Nature's Lore, search the library for forest card. There is a lot of duels that have the forest. Notice this is forest, not basic forest, so this can search up almost every single. This can search up every single dual land in this deck. Gamble. We're playing with nuclear weapons. We might as well take a risk. Pay 1 red, search for library for any card, put it in your hand, then have them pick a card, any card. Nice. Decree of Annihilation. Just remove all artifacts, creatures, lands, graveyard, hands from the game. You're paying 10 mana to do that, but that leaves planeswalkers in play, so I can start rebuilding. And when you cycle Decree of Annihilation, you just destroy all lands. So another tactical nuke that can leave my planeswalker on the battlefield. Does not say enchantment, so if I've got my enchantment and I've blown up everything else and I got my Lord Windgrace, I got my graveyard's gone, but if I got land in play, in hand, I can start rebuilding. Attempt with Discovery. This is basically the biggest gotcha card in the entire deck. I am going to pay 4 to search my deck for a land card, any land, put it into the battlefield, and then look at my opponents and go, okay, who else needs a land? And because I've been blowing up all of their lands, there's a lot of them are going to be like, I'll take a land, and then you got 3, and then I'm sitting there with 4 lands, everybody's sitting with 1. Like, in this deck, playing Attempt with Discovery and making somebody choose not to go get a land to help rebuild their board, it feels like the most evil thing you can do in the world. Tectonic Break is also the other most evil thing that you can do in the world. You just tap out, sacrifice everything to the squandered resources, and just blow up everybody's lands, keep all your mana floating, and then bring 2 of your lands back with Lord Windgrace. And seriously, this deck is disgustingly annoying. Explosive Vegetation, yeah, you're going to put 1 into play and 1 into your hand. You have so many cards that say play an extra land. You're basically, this card should just read pay 4, search your library for 2 lands, put them into play. Put 1 into play tapped, put 1 into play untapped, possibly. Gaze of Granite, another, just destroy each non-land permanent with this will probably get replaced with something more on the lines of destroy everything, all artifacts, creatures and lands cards, or something more like Wildfire that we're going to see here, because I don't want to get rid of my enchantments and I don't want to get rid of my planeswalker. So Gaze of Granite kind of sucks, but it's good for being able to clear out opponent's tokens and stuff like that. Wildfire, you know, each player sacrifices 4 lands. Wildfire deals 4 damage to each creature. Just another way of tactical nuking the board. Warp World is probably the most hilarious win condition in the game. Like I said, I've got the Hammer Perforos to give everything haste. I got plenty of creatures that have landfall that give me tokens. So I could have a very big board, Warp World, shuffle that entire board back into my deck, and then go to try to hit the Hammer Perforos and a ton of landfall triggers, so I can have Warp World happen and just completely decimate the entire board. Plus, I'm blowing up all my opponent's creatures and lands and artifacts, all their permanents. So their number they're going to be shuffling away and flipping is very small. Warp World is kind of like, it's the out of nowhere win condition in this deck, and some people will let it happen in hopes that they won't die to everything and that they can get their board rebuilt. But it's hilarious. Cultivate, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, reveal those, put the one onto the battlefield tapped and the other into your hand. Again, we play so many play-in additional things, so basically this one ends up being like, put 1 into play tapped, put the other one into play untapped. Explore, just play an additional land for this turn and draw a card. Yep. Planetary Annihilation. I can't believe that they've actually printed mass land destruction in standard, because this is even better. Wildfire, instead of sacrificing 4 and taking 4 damage to each creature, they have to choose 6 to keep, and then they deal 6 damage to each creature. So even if they keep the yeah, so this can be pretty nasty. Again, the Earthbend cards do make a way of getting around this, but you know, you're definitely going to be ruining somebody's board, either getting a lot of their creatures, or either getting rid of a lot of their lands, or getting rid of all of their creatures. So it's good. World Soul's Rage, you know, deals X damage to any target. Put up to X land cards from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield tapped. Another one to basically, you know, you got another 2-card combo with Squander Resources. You just tap out, pay everything into this, and then you basically bring, you know, all but 2 of those lands back that you sacrifice back into play. And yeah, and then you can sack them all again to be able to play something else. That is nasty. Seismic Symmetry. This is probably the best tutor spell to actually play in this deck. I know it says choose 2 players, each of them searches the library for a card, shuffles their library, then puts the card on top. But you have an automatic ability to just discard a land card and draw whatever you got with Seismic Symmetry. Once Lord Windgrace is out, Seismic Symmetry is amazing because you can just go get it, put it on top, activate his ability, put it into your hand, and then go gadget. You got the card you want, and chances are you're gonna go get like something like one of our other amazing trigger all of our landfall abilities, Scape Shift. Just being able to sacrifice all of your lands, search your library for that many cards, put them in the play tapped, and shuffle your library. But we got some ways to make the mana with them. You know, we can squander resources away the lands to search up and make mana. We can, you know, have ways to make them come into play untapped. But the best thing is Escape Shift also sets up a killer combo with Field of the Dead too. And Field of the Dead also combos with Warp World, where basically you count up how many lands come into play at that time. You get that many 2/2s. I mean, it's nuts what this deck does when it gets going. Alright, and now Field of the Dead starts the lands. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 forest. We got 1 basic mountain, 1, 2, 3 swamps, and then we start looking at our non-basics. So we got duel comes to play tap, but we can cycle it. We got a fetchable duel. We got a Rash of them ports, so we can tap down our opponent, deny them some mana. We got a fetch. We got a Drakmor Salvage, of course, for the dredge, so that was already here. We got fetch number 2, fetch number 3, fetchable land number 2, fetchable land number 3, fetch number 4, fetchable land number 4, Bajaka Bog, add some graveyard hate, fetchable land number 5, fetch land number 5, Command Tower, fetchable land number 6, Ghost Quarter, Strip Mine, fetchable land number, fetch land number 6, fetch land number 7, fetchable land number 7, Wasteland, Wooded Foothills, Fable, Skull Tarn, Fable Passage, Stomping Ground, and of course the OG duels. That's right, we got Badlands, Bio, and Taiga in here. This deck is pure gas, and if I can get more fetches and more, I know I'm not running the. I'm not running the basic land fetches. I should probably run those in here. I'm not running the Mirage fetches. I should probably run those in here. I think that will cut down the number of our repeatable basics. I know there's the card that basically you can reveal top card of your library until you reveal something with a different name. So original version of this deck ran a snow-covered mountain and a mountain, snow-covered swamp and a swamp, forest and a snow-covered forest. So we have room for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have room for 8 more fetchable duels and fetch lands, and that really makes the deck come alive with all the landfall triggers. So I'm gonna find room for all of that and put it all in here at some point. But that's the deck. That is Tactical Nukes, starring Lord Windgrace. Yeah, play this deck, make your friends hate you, and have a great time. Peace.